show?
Oh, I didn't have time. I've been all tied up with these interplanetary experiments.
Interplanetary?
That's right. Well, you read in the papers about how the Army is getting radar signals returned from the surface of the moon. Well, it's the same thing with our experiments.
You mean you're trying to tune in on broadcasts from the moon and the planets?
Sure. And you'd be surprised at the things we pick up with this experimental and research equipment.
Really?
You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. After World War II, the United States was plagued with reports of unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. In 1951, more Americans reported UFO sightings than at any point in American history. The public demanded an explanation. Oddly enough, the Air Force obliged. The first investigations began in 1946, and by 1947, Project Sign was born. In 1948, this study reached inconclusive results, but stated that UFOs were real and most likely not made on Earth. The project was dismantled and the Air Force created Project Grudge, which was specifically designed to disprove the conclusions of Project Sign. Project Grudge attributed most UFO sightings to misinterpretation, hysteria, or other mundane causes. However, it still could not explain 23% of the sightings. Within a year, Project Grudge folded and was replaced by Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book ran from 1948 through the 60s, and its results are still a subject of intense debate. Were the official results correct? Were most of these UFO sightings easily explained as mass hysteria, freak weather phenomenon, or mistaken observers? Or was it, as some conspiracy theorists believe, a smokescreen? Here's where it gets crazy. Signs do point to a cover-up of some sort. At the beginning of the U.S. investigation, there was no question that UFO sightings were legitimate. Lieutenant General Nathan F. Twining believed that the phenomenon reported is something real and not visionary or fictitious. Former scientific consultant and astronomer Joseph A. Hynek also states that factions within the government actively discredited studies that concluded UFOs were something out of the ordinary. So we do know that some sightings were ignored or kept secret. And then there's the legendary Estimate of the Situation, a document that built the case for UFOs as alien craft using some of these classified sightings as evidence. Although several people associated with Project Sign have stated that this document does exist, no copies have been found. The Air Force Chief of Staff at the time, General Hoyt S. Vandenberg, ordered it destroyed. When ufologists Tim Cornelia and Edgar Smith asked Captain George T. Gregory about some of these sensitive UFO reports, such as the Kinross incident, the captain refused to speak about them. Additionally, the scientists and officers working on these projects were not allowed to address certain UFO cases. These special cases were handled by another, more secretive group in the Air Force. This group's name is not public knowledge, and its existence has only been hinted at in memos retrieved through the Freedom of Information Act. Despite this secrecy, the sightings were too widespread to be ignored. Perhaps the most compelling evidence of a conspiracy came in 1951, when hundreds of witnesses saw heavy UFO activity over Washington, D.C. The public uproar jammed all communication channels, and it effectively crippled the capital's security and intelligence operations. This made Washington incredibly vulnerable to conventional attacks. After intense public outcry over the UFOs, the Air Force hosted the largest press conference in U.S. history, but it did not confirm any reporters' questions. They referred to the objects simply as unknowns. Yet the government was not necessarily concerned with aliens. The main concern of the government was always to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security. After the communication system crashed, the CIA and the Air Force decided that public panic over UFOs caused more harm than any UFOs themselves. Therefore, the best way to increase security would be to calm the public. In 1968, the Air Force hired physicist Edward Condon to conduct a review of Project Blue Book's findings, with the understanding that all of these findings would be debunked. Despite Condon's reports debunking UFO sightings, the rumors have not died. As more and more researchers comb the archives for evidence, more smoking guns appear. There may not have been any alien spacecraft zipping around the globe after World War II, but the facts are clear. There is something they don't want you to know.
I have orders to send you on a special mission to the planet Earth. As usual, you will take a flying disc. You will take off from this point and land approximately here.